Hello, everyone. Sean here. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everyone. Um, this is December 23rd. Figure we'd take a quick look at the end of the year, um, kind of market update as a whole. Um, Most specifically, there's three of the biggest coin series I wanted to focus on because these are traditionally known as anchors to the entire coin market. And that is Buffalo Nickels, number one, Lincoln Cents is number two, and then Morgan Dollars is gonna come in third there. But by no means do these three specific coin series make up the general whole picture of the market, but they are what I consider to be a heavily weighed set of coin series, U.S. type coins rather, that in one way or the other, it kind of develops the ecosystem of how the coin market performs. So one of the favorite sites I like to use, only because they do a really good job showing the changes week in and week out, every 30, 60, 90 days, is PCGS.com. They are one of the biggest grading companies of coins and currency on the face of the planet, and they are relevant in a sense that they are truly a one-stop, complete solution for a lot of things, whether it's information fact-finding, you're looking to buy a PCGS graded coin at a dealer or online or from a third party, you would use their website, you would use their app to do some research on a coin you want to purchase, especially if it's a lot of money. Pricing helps develop, kind of like an easy access, kind of like this is what the market is today, and now how that ties into to your collection and what you would expect to attain out of it. And then finally, PCGS just is an overall really great reference tool for a lot of different things. Registry set, population reports in general of all the coins, previous auction prices, sans, greatcollections.com, of course. You can always go on our website to check those out. In addition to varieties, and they also do a lot of coverages of various countries around the world of coins. China, Canada, Australia, to name a few, are very big presences on PCGS grading. So where we're going to focus on, of course, is the price guide part of it. You guys know my stance on price guides. Price guides are simply just a snapshot of what a coin's value could be like, but it could always differ because the market is so fluid. If a coin says it's worth $400 in a mint state 63, it doesn't mean that every single coin that comes to the market will sell for exactly $400. That's insanity. And it's just, it's not a rational mind of thinking, when people look at a price guide. Like that's the big reason why I have a 4-year-old red book, guys, is that I don't care about the pricing. The pricing does not matter in today's landscape of coin sales on the secondary market. It's never going to either. Prices fluctuate all the time. Some could sell low, some can sell high, and then you have kind of like the average of it all. But what PCGS does right with their price guide is it gives you an overall basis of what is trending higher and what's falling off the side of the map, so to speak, when it comes to the market. It's going to help you determine the coins that maybe you should sell or you should buy because they're getting cheaper or because it represents a true buying opportunity for a coin that maybe is missing in your collection. They do a really good job at using the open market to help adjust and do these micro adjustments on various coins. But of course, when you come across certain coins that across the board are performing a certain way, that really kind of opens your eyes. Like, I wonder what's happening here. Because this particular coin has been going up and up and up and up for the previous 24 months, and then now all of a sudden we're seeing a retraction from those from that particular price movement. It really gives you cause to pause and think for a second, okay, what exactly is going on in the market or in the world right now that's playing some sort of role in the adjustment of these. So there's a bunch of different variables that go into why certain coins go down, some go up. But when we look at the most popular series of coins that is so widely and universally collected across the globe, then it gives us more easier perspective from not so much a 5,000 foot view of everything, but more of a 50,000 foot view. You're out in the stratosphere at this point, looking down on the earth, and seeing the landscape of what is the coin market. That sounds silly, I know, so don't hold me to that. But in any event, let's go ahead and there's two ways that you can kind of use the information on PCGS's website for market data. Okay, you can either go to price changes, which is here on the left. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. This you've seen me use in a couple previous videos. But what it does was it gives you a 24-hour rolling top 10 gainers and losers list. Okay, I don't personally take stock in the top 10 24-hour movers and shakers or whatever you want to call it, because these coins, they could drop off one day and then they could go back up the next day. All right, so like this right here, like who would have guessed the 1966 Washington Quarter Special Mint Set SP designated graded coin in 68 would go up from $40 to 75. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah. What happened? Are people buying this coin out, or what's the deal? No, that is such an insane coin to spec on. Plus, as you can see, it doesn't take much for it to show such a high percentage price mover of up 87.5%. I mean, that's really easy to manipulate. All right. So, again, I wouldn't take stock in some of this. 1820 was a cap bust $0.50 with the square 2 large date and knob PL, which is proof like, so into 62 PL. Went from $9,000 to $15,000. All right, so that's a pretty huge gainer right there. Another one is the 1915 Quarter Eagle. That grades proof 66 plus, a very rare coin, just a small handful of them made, 52.5, up to 75K. I mean, these are quite understandable, but these appear and maybe might have a little bit more fluctuation because of the insane price movements on the coins. And that could all be reflective on just one sale. So I want you guys to know that the top 10 and bottom 10 winners and losers coins on this particular list that covers just within the 24-hour period may not be 100% relevant to the information you're trying to gather as far as the market. Now, I like the 1 week a little bit better because it paints a little bit broader picture. Plus, you have the same coin that maybe can sell a few times during the week. And then what happens is those few sellers, whether on eBay or Heritage Auctions or what have you, those are taken into account, they're added, and then divided up to however many coins were sold. And then you have kind of an average of how much that one is. A little bit better 1 week gainers, 7-day rolling activity. I mean, you look at like the 1806, was that drape bust, $0.50, Overton 127A pointed 6 with the stems, and a mint state 60 something. They forgot to put the rest of the information there. Pretty big mover this week, went from 1,300 to 3,000, representing 130% price movement. So again, top 7-day rolling kind of sales look right there. Not my particular favorite. The 3-month is probably more along the lines of what you want to really focus on if you're looking more beyond what the short term is, which is at that three month mark and then beyond. And then this is where you're going to get a little bit more perspective on where exactly the market really commands more attention. Now there is some pretty egregiously weird kind of information here. 2014 $5 Gold Eagle narrow reading in Mint State 69. 3 months ago was $1,000 coin. Now is 25 grand with a 2,400% price change increase. Yeah, there's something going on there. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to say that it's market manipulation, but maybe if this is a coin that the last time it sold was like 5 years ago, you guys know the market has changed quite a bit. So I'm not particularly familiar with the $5 Gold Eagle narrow reading. That's way too modern for my taste. But personally, I like looking at the more classic stuff. Like here's a 1892S Morgan Dollar VAM 8 tripled hair. It says Mint State, but the grade's a 58. That's an AU 58, not Mint State at all. Went from $1,000 to $19,000. So I don't know if there's something weird happening here, or maybe it's just some typos in here. I mean, just Mint State 58. I mean, come on. But some of the information is very relevant. Looking through this, there's some of these rare coins on these half cents that I could see realistically going up a huge margin. Especially if they're coins that haven't seen the light of day on the secondary market. Maybe at one point this coin, some of these are quite rare, with a rarity factor of 8 or 9 or whatever. These particular coins maybe show up in the marketplace once every maybe 5 to 10 years. So I could see how some of these have shot straight upwards to uncharted territory. But overall, just kind of funny, weird, pricing on some of the other ones. This one's very believable. 1984 DDO FS 102. This is not the doubled ear, by the way. That's the 101. The 102 is the other double die, the very, very scarce one at that. Mint State Red 64 plus went from $240 all the way up to $1,250. So, high graded rarities of moderns, especially those varieties that we don't see that often, like if a 95D DDO was on here at maybe a top pop, that one would shoot up pretty high because that's a coin that just doesn't see the light of day in the marketplace. Loser wise, we have a couple like El Cheapo coins in here. 2020D Roosevelt dime with full bands in the 67 was $75 3 months ago. Now we're $20. I mean, no crap. Roosevelt dimes beyond like 1960, those things are generally not collected outside of full bands, registry set style of hunting. And then you have things like the SS Central America Quarter Eagle, which it looks like it's probably a shipwreck find. Going from $3,750 down to $1,100. Maybe someone had shot up the pricing bidding activity up to this level, a year ago, and then another one came into the marketplace and just plummeted. Things like that do happen. And we're seeing that right now in the other various collectibles markets. Video games is getting hammered right now. Some of the high graded Super Mario Brother OG cartridges that used to sell for $1 million now all of a sudden are worth like 30% of that. So there are some coins getting hit pretty big as well. The 1 year gainers, I love the 1 year gainers. All right, this is a difference in some of the top coins that have sold 1 year ago to what they are today. Plus you have a sprinkling of all these other sales that have occurred over the course of the last 12 months. This is probably the report that I focus on more because it gives really a better snapshot view of the market for like rarities and things like that. And we do see quite a few of them in here, like 1833 $5 half eagle large date. That's and proof going from 400K to 2.7 million. That's very believable. That's a rarity with only just a handful of coins known, especially in proof strike. It's just insane. All right. So again, ultra rarities, hyper really crazy rarities from yesteryear are taking center stage. Whereas, as you can see, a lot of the cheaper, lower end stuff getting hit pretty hard here on the 1 year top 10 losers list. Don't know what's up with this first one. Again, there's some typos definitely going on here. Mint State 1 is not anything. But yeah, pretty crazy. Like a 1798 $1 with the knobbed 9 and 5 lines going from 627,500 to 72.5 is a pretty hefty loss for that coin, especially in Mint State 63. So if this was a coin that sold for that amount of money a year ago, at the height of all collectibles markets, then we could see why this one had plummeted by a good deal. So you could use that report. I like it least overall than just really going into the individual series that you have more interest in, like, what I'd say, Buffalo Nickels, right? So when we go to Buffalo Nickels, which is a top 5 most widely collected series, a very iconic to Americana and what it means. The top 3 lines right here is the overall market for complete sets of specific types. Like you have a date set, more than likely it's all going to be probably Philadelphia coins in that set. So you can see that there's a lot of green up arrows in grades beyond Mint State 63. All right. And when you get up to 67, it's dropped just ever so slightly, not a whole lot. But, we're seeing little nudges of upward price movement in basic date sets. A basic date with mint mark sets, so PD and S of every date, except for those ones that only have, say, a Philly and Denver, like 1934, would fit here. Again, your Mint State graded sets enjoying like really healthy price movements. 65s have dipped a few $100. Really not anything to kind of write home to mother about, but let's just say in the highest of grades, the price has kind of stayed flat. But all of the other grades, what I call tier 2 grades, have enjoyed price rises, and the big reason why is that people who are running and gunning for those ultra high grades of Buffalo Nickels, and then now all of a sudden they're like 50% higher in value over the course of the last 24 months. They're like, man, I really can't afford a Mint State 65 1926S like I used to. Therefore, I'm going to look for a grade that's maybe 1 or 2 points lower. And that's why there's been a lot more activity in what I call the tier 2 grades of some of these coins. But if we roll on down through the list, predominantly, I mean, it's looking like Christmas time on this list, and how appropriate. We have a lot of green up arrows all over the places. There's also a few reds in there as well. Looks like a lot of the coins that are affected with just marginal little lower price movements are the Philadelphia minted coins, because there's just a overall higher population of them out there today in the marketplace. But overall, lots of green, a few reds in there. I mean, you guys can always go in here, take a look at these at your leisure. Again, the coins that are represented here that have a price tag of, say, $21,000 right on the price guide is not indicative of how much you would expect to get for it in the open market. It could be higher, could be lower. There could be a fluctuation of about $1,000, $1,500 or more. Really depends on the coin. It really depends on whether or not you sold it on a Sunday afternoon during a football game, or if you elected to go to Great Collections and say, hey, I need the money right away. Can you put this on the expedited 7-day process and get it out there? You're just not going to get as much money for them as opposed to doing, say, a 60-day listing where they do the advertising and all that stuff. And that's any auction company. So if you need it right away, you're going to accept less money for it. But over the duration of maybe a 30, 60, or 90-day kind of like listing, like, hey, we're going to put it out there, get some feelers on it, and see where it goes. All right. And then people will bid on it through the course of that 60-day period, and you're just going to get more eyeballs on it because, in a 7-day turnaround short window, there are a lot of collectors that'll skip out a week on great collections or eBay or heritage auctions, and they'll miss out on, say, an ultra rarity that you have that you just need the money now. Auction companies, while they could get you the most for your coins, they're not JG Wentworth, right? They're not going to give you your structured settlement, of the actual market value on these things. So, Buffalo nickels. Let's see. When we get into the 30s, there's really not a whole lot of movement in the 1930s. Once you get into like marquee varieties, like the three legs, we do see some up arrows and down arrows. But overall, the 30s has remained relatively flat, save for the like high-end grades, like, your mid-states 66s and up of the world. But overall, there is some pretty reasonable price increases, especially on some of the tougher dates, like 34D, 35D is another tough one, like we're highlighting right here, with a short little $25 increase in price, which shows a little bit heightened market activity for that specific coin. The 31S, another tough date in the annals of the Buffalo nickel world, went up $75, which is actually a pretty good increase. And then 66, this coin jumps up $500. So you get the big idea. That's Buffalo nickels. I figured we're going to end it off on Lincoln cents. That's everyone's favorite series. We're going to go ahead and jump into Morgan dollars because, again, it's like another like important series to a lot of collectors. But what we're seeing here, and this is important, this didn't used to be the case 6 months ago, because in these lower grades, just by looking at a glance of a whole date set, these particular coins were going up, because all of the coins in mid-state 64 and higher were getting way too expensive. So people were gravitating toward the AU58s. They were gravitating toward the mid-state 61s and up to 63 or 64. And those prices began to shot up. They were going up like 20% over the course of a 12-month span. I did a video on that, by the way, in case you missed it. But now, a lot of the coins that are under or out of mid-state range that have some circulation wear are all seeing some priceward or downward pressure. Overall, not a significant amount. Some of the sets here showing like downward movement of a few $100. But this could very well be a precursor to what we're going to see in 2023, as I predict the market is going to kind of flatten out a little bit. We could only go up for so long over the course of like 32 to 40 months that we are expected to see some sort of market correction. And I feel like 2023 is going to be that time, just based off of what I'm seeing here on the report. We're seeing some of the more common dates, or what I like to call dreck, because a lot of these things you can easily find in melt bins at your local LCS. These are all coins that have they're slipping a few bucks a piece. These $2 or $3 little slips on these common dates are nothing. This can turn into something that's much bigger, ladies and gentlemen. It could drop, $2 right now. In another, say, 90 days, it'll drop down another $2 or $3, and then another 90 days after that, another $2 or $3. Over a 12-month period, if that particular coin ends up dropping $10, $15, that could be significant, because there are a lot of people, and I know a few, me personally, folks that have quite a deep position in these common date, kind of like filler coins for their inventory of Morgan dollars. They're all common dated. They all grade in that kind of like everyman AU 55, 58, all the way up to mid-state 63. And they bought at the height of the coin market for those particular coins, when it used to be that those coins, you could have bought for about 30% cheaper 2 years ago, are now a lot more. And a lot of people bought in thinking like, man, these things are going to keep going up. But in reality, there's just so many of them graded at those particular grade levels. They're not special. And therefore, people are going to be dumping these coins at any cost. So you could clearly go down the list. Check out all the common dates. We saw the 80S. Here's the 81. That one's dipped. 81S, another common date. 82. Once we get beyond, the 1890s, things begin to kind of smoothen up a little bit, where we're not seeing constant downward price movement on a lot of these lower tier coins. All right. So last and not least, Lincoln Cents, everybody's favorite. How's Lincoln Cents holding up? Let's go ahead and check out the Lincoln Wheat Cents, which, as far as its weight to the entire series, going from 1909 to present, the Wheat Cent series is by far the anchor of the bunch, and it is green as green, man. This is like a forest of just beautiful, beautiful, wealthy, and very, very healthy price movements all around. There's like the occasional red in there, but it's not enough. It's nothing, guys. There's a lot more green up arrows here. People are really, really falling in love with the series. We're seeing more new people coming into the hobby that they want to get into some of the more earlier dates of Lincoln Wheat Cents, because they still represent, guys, an affordability model for a lot of these folks, where you could go out there, spend $150 to $300 on a premium example of an earlier date, like a 1912 in mid-state red. Look at that. You could get something in this mid-state 63, 64 that looks really awfully pretty for a couple $100. And it's like you win when you get these. And, being that the Lincoln Cents series is the most widely, universally collected series out of anything else out there today, kind of speaks volumes. So this is just an incredible look. Just some of the earlier dates, they do continue on into the later dates. But there's really no downward pressure in any of this stuff. And there are a few dates, 1918D is another one that, that I would say it has been kind of under the radar. You get beyond 1916 all the way up to 1920, and this 4-year range, believe it or not, is incredibly and criminally underrated in the secondary market. And people are enjoying beautiful mid-state examples of these coins from the later teens for under $200 and really enjoying it. However, as the market dries up of these coins and demand kind of like continues to go up, not shoot up, because we're only seeing like $5, $10 price movements, but people who are constantly scouring out the weekly auctions on Great Collections or Heritage or whatever, and they're seeing like a mid-state 63 red brown of any of these dates, they're going to jump all over it, and they're generally going to sell for a lot more than what they normally did about a year ago. So, Lincoln Cents. If you guys wanted to check out also while we're here, Lincoln Memorials all the way up to the Shields. This one it's just okay. We do see a number of green up arrows across the board, but realistically, when we're talking about graded coins, you don't really need to buy a 1962 mid-state red unless it's a registry set coin at grade 68. You don't need to buy this holder, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to spend more money because someone's trying to compensate for a grading submission fee, for a coin that generally in mid-state red is worth $1. All right. So when you buy the coin in a slab, for example, and you're buying a mid-state 65, and you're like, oh, I'm going to crack it out anyways because I'm going to put it in this really nice album, you're going to pay a heck of a lot more for the coin than what the market commands because it's in a graded holder. So, again, we're seeing a lot of green up arrows, but this is not a particular kind of like date range that I would even consider buying graded coins unless it's a registry set coin. That's the only reason why you would do that. Of course, but we're talking about coins that are worth many thousands of dollars to that point. Or the 69S, which we've seen. And the reason why we're seeing some red down arrows is we're seeing actually quite the record amount of these pop up on the secondary market. We've seen Great Collections. They add like, since the summertime, I think about 3 or 4 of them that have popped up. And the more of them that come out into the marketplace, again, there's a supply and demand. And people don't want to continuously see an AU 55 or 58 of that coin on the marketplace because everybody has that one. The people with the deep pockets that want a pleasing example without paying 100K, which, by the way, on Great Collections, there's a mid-state 66 that's currently on there. That's well beyond the range of what it shows here on this graph by PCGS. And there's no pricing for a 66, yet there's one on Great Collections as part of the Red Copper collection, the Stuart Blaze collection, that's well in excess of 100K already with over a month to go. So, we're seeing like some really, really big marquee coins coming in the marketplace. People are actually cashing out the registry sets and big collections, and we've seen that a few times this year already. And that's going to play into the market of, probably predominantly the higher end coins like the 69S DDO. Hopefully I didn't confuse you too much here in this video. I wanted to give you guys kind of a look, a few takeaways. Lincoln Cents and Buffalo Nickels are still two of the prime subject series. I know we didn't look at like the early federal age, like the 1700s, early 1800s of coins. Those are always going to be pretty good performers. Ultra rarities, all right, key dates are always going to be kind of the staple of the entire U.S. coinage market. But when it comes to big blanket series that are making an impact, are Lincoln Cents, Buffalo Nickels, Morgan Dollars. We're beginning to see some slippage on those grades under mid-state 64 that a lot of people really did tackle and buy a lot of because the demand was there at one point, and now we're beginning to see that demand kind of do a 180, and then now there's just more supply out there, thereby leading to a little bit more downward pressure. But that's it, guys. I wanted to talk about that. I may do a live event tonight on Blue Ridge Silverhound. So if I come on, come on down. Let's chat. A little fireside kind of chat. Bring your hot chocolate or your hot toddies, whatever you prefer. That's going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound with the kind of like the market wrap for the end of the year. That's going to go ahead and do it. You guys enjoy. Have a great evening and day. If you guys are still shopping, be careful out there. It's kind of crazy. I'll see you next time. So long.